All right, everybody. Well, let's clap, because we always want to celebrate right where we are. That's the biggest gift we can give ourselves sometimes, is just allowing ourselves to be where we are. Even if it can feel awkward, uncomfortable, like it's not supposed to be where we are, what I have found is that whenever we resist where we are, we've already lost 50% of our power, at least. Because we're in judgment mode about what woulda, coulda, shoulda happened, who knows when, how long ago, or we're projecting so far into the future that we're not available for what we really want to create in the present moment. So it's all about allowing and accepting and allowing us to be good enough, even in the absence of perfection, that where we are, what's going on, it's okay to be. So there's a lot of power in that statement that we are right where we're supposed to be. And so with the where part, we're right where we're supposed to be. Physically, we're all supposed to be here right now, otherwise we'd be somewhere else. Geographically, where you live, your health, your relationships, your job, your state of mind, your state of emotions, your state of growth, your family situations, your money situations, the car you're driving, the clothes you're wearing, whatever you have going on is exactly right where you're supposed to be. The second part of that equation is that we are right where we're supposed to be. Sometimes we think that there's something wrong with who we are or where we are. And that gets in the way, too, of us being able to find ourselves again, to be able to get in the groove again. Is that when we start to judge either where we are with all those categories that I just listed, or who we are, all of that energy keeps us stuck and unavailable for what we want. So are you available for what you want? Are you really available for it? What do you want? And remember, the whole key between being available versus unavailable is whether you're open or closed. Are we open or closed for what we want? What can make us closed for what we want? Our thoughts and beliefs, our words that we use in our head or with others, stories that we've created around our experience, our judgments on ourselves or other people, unmet expectations or disappointment, anger, jealousy, resentment, grief. All of those things we're supposed to feel, but the goal is for us to move through them. What happens, because we're human beings, is that when we get in these emotional states, we stay in them for a long period of time. We're not able to move through them. We're not able to move through the process. Because either A, we don't know what the process is, or B, we do know the process, but we're not available for the process. So when you ask yourself those kind of questions is, what do I want? Am I really open and available for it? And again, just to summarize, because we talked about these last week, but we'll come back to it. Thoughts, words, feelings, and actions are the three or the four places to check in when we're asking ourselves if we're available. Are my thoughts available for what I really want? What would be an example of us wanting something but our thought not being available? Or us being unavailable in our thoughts? What would be a good example of that?
I think we don't deserve it.
We don't think we deserve it. Feelings of self-worth and whether we deserve something or not can be very deep. They can also be very either cultural or go back to our family roots because either A, somebody in our family or who was significant to us told us or tried to convince us that we were undeserving or unworthy, and we started to believe that at a young age. Or number two, we've thought of some reason why we don't deserve it, independent of somebody else. It just comes in. But that belief of not being worthy or deserving is one of the oldest primary beliefs that we can have that can easily get us in the way, especially when we've tried to get what we want and we have failed in our minds. Maybe it's with a business idea. Maybe it's with a relationship with somebody. It didn't work out for whatever reason. Our expectations were not met. We got disappointed or frustrated. We can instantly start to project, well, maybe I'm not supposed to have that anyway. Maybe I shouldn't even want that anyway. Maybe I should want something less or something different. Because I could never, I should never, I would never be able to qualify or get or work or create what it is that we want. So that's a great example. What would be a good example of being unavailable in our words? Well, let me go back. So what would be the opposite way to switch that belief around would be to start to affirm what in our heads with our thoughts?
I work hard and I should be able to buy whatever I want to buy.
I deserve it.
Go where I want to go.
Yes, I deserve it. I respect myself. I honor my own preferences. What I want is worthy and it is good enough. And it only has to be good enough for me. So I'm going to allow it. It's about receiving, allowing ourselves being worthy to receive what we want. So, what would be an example of being unavailable in our words?
What you say to yourself in your own head is sometimes a block.
What are some things we might say in the mirror or in the car?
I'm not pretty. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not pretty. I'm not good enough. This isn't, I got too many gray hairs. Okay? Or I'm a little soft in the middle. What else? What would be another word thing that we might use that would make us unavailable?
I think just not speaking up when you should.
Not speaking our truth or owning our voice when we should. That's a great response. Exactly. If I'm closed to speaking my truth or speaking my opinion because I'm giving away my power to somebody or something that might judge me or reject me, that makes me unavailable. Excellent. So, what would be the way in those two situations to demonstrate that we are available or open?
It's positive affirmation in the mirror.
Positive affirmation in the mirror. What would that affirmation be?
I'm worth it.
I'm worth it.
Deserving of love, or I'm deserving the love of others.
Yeah, I deserve love. Or, damn, I look good.
That's what I was going to say. But I don't know how
I'm looking good today. You know? And it's amazing what that simple affirmation will do to your energy. We've all seen people that we know that do not have a high level of self-esteem with about how they look. And how does that impact how they carry themselves, the tone of their voice, the level of their voice, how they express themselves, their whole energy drops. But then you got people who don't look that much better, okay, comparatively speaking, walk in and they're like, hey, what's up? I'm looking good. Check this out. Check what I'm wearing today. Look what I got.
You want to do a tattoo?
Yeah, whatever it might be. But comparatively speaking,
One's enjoying their life better than the other.
yeah. One is acting as if. One is blessing themselves while the other is cursing themselves. It really is. Look, I'm going to write this because this is huge. We don't pay attention to our words enough, but we are either blessing ourselves or cursing ourselves with our words.
So true.
We're either blessing other people or we're cursing other people with our words when we're talking either to them or about them. Okay? We're either blessing our job or we're cursing our job with the way we speak, think, act, and feel at our job.
And relationships too.
And relationships. Thank you, Charlotte. We either bless our relationships or we curse our relationships by the way we talk and feel and speak and act. Who wants a cursing? Does anybody want a cursing? Okay. I don't know about y'all, but I don't. Okay. And I really like thinking about it in these terms, because this really establishes the reality of what we're doing. Do I want to curse my partner or bless my partner? Do I want to curse my child or bless my child? Here's an example of a cursing on a child. Oh, you can never be a professional baseball player. You're not good enough. You don't practice hard enough. You don't have the skills. It doesn't run in the family. You need to go to law school instead and be a lawyer, or, go work at a gas station. That's a curse. What did you say, John?
I forgot what I just said.
Lazy.
Yeah.
You're lazy.
Yeah, you're lazy.
You're a lazy kid.
You're a lazy kid. You'll never. You can't. It'll be impossible. Nice try. Better settle for something else.
And the worst word is you're stupid.
There you go. Those are all curses. And there's roundabout ways to curse. There's directly or indirectly. There's aggressively or there's passive aggressively. Okay? It doesn't matter. It all gets registered. When somebody's acting passive aggressive to us, does it not still register? We get it. We're not stupid. Okay? So, what would be a way to speak a blessing on a child?
You did amazing.
You can do it. You have unique gifts and skills.
You're smarter than everybody else.
You're smart. I believe in you. I trust you. You can be whatever you want to be. How can I help you? Okay? Most kids are going to change their mind next week anyway. Okay? But do we want to bless or do we want to curse? Bless or curse. If you take nothing else out of here tonight, I want you to think in terms of speaking more blessing versus cursing. Paying attention to your words. Are you cursing yourself or others, or are you blessing yourself and others? Because words have power, and power has energy, and energy produces results.
I was saying cursing has a double meaning too, because people curse and they're derogatory when they're cursing. So that's the same as just cursing someone with negative words.
Sure.
So me and John, we try not to curse around each other or have that as part of our vocabulary.
Sure.
Because it just brings in a negative tone.
Sure.
You might fall out at the wrong time. So
I understand.
Why even have it?
A lot of people approach it just that way. Now, I do have my own favorite swear words that I use. Typically, it's not in a curse, it's not in a negative way. It just happens to be there. But it's still very important. Every word has energy associated with it. And it's all about energy. And stuck in that energy long enough creates really limited results. And then we wonder why we're not getting what we want. When you were talking in your introduction tonight, you were talking about you are invoking, the angels, the, watchtower, whatever it is, all your mom, all of the spiritual deities or symbolic people that you have, you are invoking them on a daily basis as a blessing, as an indication of trust, as an indication of abundance. You guys are already around me. Okay, this is what I want. Okay? And I love the idea, and this has saved me in so many times in my life. is, something important is coming up, something significant is going to happen, and I'm like, what am I going to do? What's going to happen? I have no idea. I really want this to happen. And, we get that anxiety and anticipation energy going. And then I remember, wait a minute. This is one of my favorite sayings. God is working behind the scenes. God has been working behind the scenes before I even showed up in this situation. God could be working behind the scenes for years before that's the truth. Okay, the reason we're all here together tonight is because God was working behind the scenes 10 years ago so that each one of us of our lives would end up, that we would somehow get in an association with each other. See what I'm saying? And on Monday night, January 14th at 7 o'clock, we'd be sitting together in this class. That's my perspective of an example of God working behind the scenes. So when I'm going into an experience or a situation with the client or with a family member or whatever the case might be, that's the energy that I've got, is like, God's already been there. This is already, He's working behind the scenes, He's behind me, in front of me, beside me. And that raises my trust level way up. Way up. So, this is kind of a more spiritual approach. But the concept will work whether you apply a spiritual approach to it or not. When you think that things have been happening already. Oh, I'm looking for a job. That job, the job that you're going to go into, it makes perfect sense that they would have already released somebody in order for you to step in. What is that? It makes perfect sense that they just created a new position and, oh, here you come. Okay? That to me is another clear example of, I don't call it coincidence, I don't believe in coincidence, because either everything's a coincidence or nothing is a coincidence, and I prefer to believe in abundance rather than limitation. And so, I know that that's how it works. And not only for me, but for everybody else. And again, this is something that we don't have to be aware of this for it to be happening. We don't have to pay attention or even acknowledge it for it to be happening. But you got your position because God was working behind the scenes just in the right time in order for you to walk in and get your job. No matter how long we're there. Whether we're there for a short time or a long time. That's irrelevant. So what if that's true? What if whatever you want to do for 2019, you could put your trust in the fact, in the principle that spiritually speaking, it's already being prepared. Things are already moving. People are already moving to be in place to assist you. Opportunities are already forming. Relationships and connections are already happening that you don't even have a clue or any advanced knowledge of, but that just are. How would that change your energy? How would that change your optimism? How would that get you unstuck? If you knew that whatever you want to accomplish in January or starting in February, things have already been working behind the scenes to do that, would that empower you?
Sure.
Encourage you? Would it help us assume more responsibility for...
Help me just go ahead and take the first action.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I get stuck because I don't think about that. So I'm not full of trust at the moment, so I won't take that first step, and then things don't fall into place because I haven't given any action.
Right.
Yeah.
I get it. In the absence of that kind of trust, I know that when I'm not thinking that things are lining up for me, I go into a million questions. Most of them around self-doubt. Most of them around, should I even be doing this? Is it even worth doing? Can I afford to do it? Are the resources there for me to do it? Maybe I should be doing something else instead, or maybe I should be doing something that requires less energy or less thought or less effort instead, because that's probably going to fail and I have more chances of succeeding at stuff that I don't have to try really hard at to do in order to be successful. But this principle of radical trust can help, again, provide that element of what am I waiting for? What am I afraid of? And can I stare what I'm afraid of down? Can you stare what you are most afraid of down? Can you look it in the eye? Can you stare it down? And can you say, no, you're not even here, or you're not even real? Or the more I think about it, there's no reason for the fear to be there. Because logically, cognitively, it doesn't make any sense for me to project fear in that direction. Or that fear is simply based on something that somebody else told me 30 years ago. And that's what I'm giving my power away to. So when we stare fear down, the only thing that's left is trust and opportunity and love. Fear is the enemy of love. Fear gets us to doubt that we're not enough, that we're not good enough, that there won't be enough, that there aren't enough other people, there's not enough love, there's not enough money, there's not enough food, there's not enough oil, there's not enough gas, there's not enough whatever. Energy. Fill in the blank. The whole world is scarcity minded. It doesn't mean we shouldn't manage our resources wisely. But the whole world is like there's not enough. There's not enough money. There's only a certain amount of money in the world, and if you don't get your share, then you're doomed forever. Or that because somebody else has this, you can never have that.
I read somewhere that because we were raised by families that went through the Depression, that a lot of us have that mentality today because our grandparents or parents went through that, and then they raised their children to bring it into
You're lucky
today's
you have a
society.
job.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
All of that stuff.
Absolutely.
You better not.
No, that was exactly my experience. You know, my mom was born in 30, my dad was born in 31. Okay, they grew up.
In Jamaica.
The only thing the biggest thing they heard from their parents is we don't have enough, we're not going to get by, do the thing. I mean, mom's thing was go get a government job. Work for the government. To her, in her mind, that was the most secure and safe thing you could do to survive financially. Go get a government job. Now, I went in the military. She was all for that. My brother worked in the government, and she was thrilled. My brother-in-law worked for the government.
And that was like a whole family basis.
Yeah.
All the guys went into the military in my family. I mean, cousins and everything. But like the girls, they went to work in civil service.
There you go.
government.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because
That
that's
was
where
supposed to be
security is.
stability for everybody.
Sales, any member of the family that's been in sales, my mom's like, are you sure? Is that good? Blah, 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 blah. But those family members who have been in sales for a long period of time, they've been very successful in sales.
They have the gift of gab.
They've got a gift, okay? And it would be contrary to their gift for them to be working in the government where there's no opportunity to express this gift. But it's all a mind thing. But our parents, they didn't have any choice. That's what they got from their parents. It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense is one of the favorite phrases that I use when we're trying to figure out why we are the way we are. You know, why we are the way we are is because certain things have happened to us, or because of our upbringing and our culture and our family environment that we grew up in and what we observed of our mom and dad. And here we are sitting here trying to wonder, why am I the way I am? How come this isn't working and that's not working, or whatever? And if you take a step back and look, and you look close enough, you discover, like, it makes perfect sense that I was who I was in my first relationship because of things that I saw play out with my mom and dad. Makes perfect sense. So if it makes perfect sense, I don't have to, there's no bad actor there for me to point the finger and accuse of having done something grossly wrong to disrupt my path, or for me to point the finger at them and blame them and hold them responsible, because when I look back at them, they were just human beings doing their own thing, doing the best that they could with what they know. It makes perfect sense that they were who they were because of who their mom and dad was. So even when I'm working with a client, we're talking about a situation, I'm like, tell me about your mom and dad. Oh, this. It's interesting. Well, I wonder why they were the way they were. Oh, let me tell you about my grandfather or my grandmother. Perfect sense. So when we can sit back and observe that and go, wow, that's just human nature, isn't it interesting? Then we go, well, wait a minute, what do I want? How can I take where I've been unavailable in my life, and where I've seen other key role players in my life be unavailable, how can I start to show up available in those areas? How can I start to flip my thinking? How can I cut the family curse, so to speak, or break the cycle? The reasons why family cycles don't break is because nobody's paying attention to even observe that there's a cycle in the first place. They're just continuing. What's the cycle? Yeah, my parents were alcoholic, I guess I'm going to be an alcoholic. You know what I mean? And that literally is how people think. Oh, your dad or mom's got this, you're going to have that too. Whatever it is. Or your brother and sister, they've got that, well, you're going to have that too. And only for very small things, are there things that actually do get passed along. But one of the most powerful reasons why certain behaviors and things get passed along is because we're convinced that it's supposed to. So we accept it. We accept it, and then we play the role.
Or you reject it and you think that what you're doing is right, but then it comes back later that maybe that wasn't right either.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. And again, this isn't about judging, but it's just about paying attention to patterns. I met with a client earlier today. Here's one of the best things you can do when you're trying to figure something out. Put yourself in the middle of a piece of paper. And then start to map whatever situation or perspective that's in your mind that you're trying to think about, that you're trying to work through and overcome. Just pay attention and go, when was the first time I ever saw or felt something like this? Oh, it was back here. Oh, and it was, connected to this person. Oh, and then isn't it interesting that it was also connected over here to this person when this thing happened? Oh, well, that's interesting. Well, then it kind of went over here to this person. See what I'm saying? And then it went over here to and involved this person. Next thing you know, you've got a whole schematic. You've got a Venn diagram. You can do project management on it. I don't know. But you have a diagram of understanding to connect the dots that goes, well, then it makes perfect sense that I'm this way, because I see it here, 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 here. And then the question goes, well, what do I want now going forward? What do I want for 2019? Who am I different in 2019? What am I creating different in 2019 that's going to be any different than what I've done in the past? And we start to get some clarity. clarity brings peace, because we start to fill in the blanks on what it is that we want and how we want it. Sometimes we're stressed out because part of us thinks that part of us wants to make a decision about something, but we're not willing to make a decision for some reason, or we're afraid of making a decision for some reason, and that presents confusion. So sometimes confusion is simply the lack of a decision. Because once you make a decision, then you have a path. Then you have power. Then you can commit to the decision. And then more information comes as you commit to a certain decision. And if you're supposed to go a different way, then that information flows to you too. But until you make a decision, sometimes you'll never see what the potential solutions ought to be or should be, because you haven't made a decision in the first place. You haven't told the universe what you want. So what do you want? What do you want? That's the question that the universe is always asking. So what do you all want?
That's not a rhetorical question.
It's not a rhetorical question. Throw something out. Let's talk about what someone in the group wants and how to create conditions for success for getting it.
I would like to stop feeling scarcity, like worrying about when is my next closing going to happen. I haven't had to worry about that for a few years, and this last quarter I think I just traveled too much, and I probably should have stayed home and worked a little more so I would be a little more comfortable right now, but now it's got my mind there and it's hard to break out of it.
Okay.
Even if one thing I did do today to break out of it was I wrote down on a whiteboard my pipeline, everything that I have, everything that I will close, that kind of thing, so I could see, like, you've got some stuff. This is all going to come into fruition, but it's like right now. And that's where my other company, where Zenden comes in, because that's instant money. You know, that's, if I had 5 appointments a week, I'd make enough money to pay all my bills. And then real estate would just be like, oh, hey, you get to go to Hawaii now. So I know that's not a good priority, but I don't care, I'm going.
That's good.
Yeah.
So that's where my scarcity lies in, how do I get this going? So
Okay, what exactly is the scarcity?
the scarcity is worrying about paying my bills every month. Right?
Okay, that you're not going to have money at the end of the month to pay your bills.
Yeah.
Okay. Has that ever happened?
Yeah.
And how did you solve it? You're still here?
Yeah, I had to, because it hurt so bad. I had to ask my 25-year-old nephew, who just left for Afghanistan last week for a year, to borrow $500 until I got paid.
Okay.
And he was like, of course, which any family member that I have that has it would be like, of course. But having to ask was so hard until I realized that I would get, if he asked for it, I would give it to him in a heartbeat.
Right.
So why can't I receive it? You know, I asked for it because I need it, not because, oh, I just feel like having $500 in the bank. It's because I need to pay my mortgage so you have somewhere to hang out when you come back. So that's, yeah. So I have been through it, and I've had a lot worse where I didn't have anybody to borrow from, but not recently. That was like a decade ago.
Okay.
So I don't want to, go back to, remember when it,
Right.
Life sucked. I want to be like, okay, this is nothing. So I need $200. Let me go and stand out front of Zenden and say, hey, who wants, I'll do a half hour for, $25 and do enough of those to make my $200. I know there's things I can do, and when I talk my way through it, I see it, but I get stuck like right at the point of I need money.
Yeah.
And then I'm consumed with that.
Right. This is a great example, because who does not stare down the demon of scarcity on a daily basis. That's probably one of the most common ones that we have. We think, again, we're convinced that there's not enough money to pay bills, clients to buy our products, good employees, good employers, resources to get money. But this is your thought. This was the very first thing you said. Now that's interesting.
Whenever you say that.
Does this, when I asked you what you wanted, you said, I want to stop thinking scarcity. Now I get it.
Who don't?
But does this statement
I
itself,
didn't say it in a way that makes it possible.
is that statement itself a blessing or a
Oh,
curse?
it's cursed, for sure.
Okay.
'Cause I wanted to also say that there's a trend going on right now. Set up a GoFundMe. You know, a lot of, those are things that,
I
that
would
people
be
are
living
doing.
My
with
favorite
that
meme
great
going around
before.
Facebook now is the kid with a lawnmower.
Yeah.
You know, technology, this was
Yeah.
GoFundMe.
In 1987, this was the
I
GoFundMe.
mean, people that I rarely know are asking me for money.
Right.
It's like, it's kind of odd that this is like something, the VA told my son when he got back from the military, they told him your family's gonna take care of you. That didn't help him for what he was going through.
Right.
And why is it that he went and served, and then now they're telling him that his family's going to take
Sure.
care of him, and they're not following through on what is something that he put into the system
Sure.
in order to be able to have that
Right.
comfort zone
Sure.
if something were to happen.
Sure. I understand.
And
Can
it-
definitely
it's
understand that.
trending
Right.
with a lot of people.
Yeah.
With
Absolutely.
their, oxygen machine, the one that carry
Mhm.
Economic
It's a certain
reasons
price.
behind that.
out of pocket.
Yeah.
And they'll tell her on the phone, well, what about your family? They'll
Yeah,
pay for it.
yeah.
Yeah, they want,
Because the insurance doesn't cover any
Right.
of it.
Right. I understand.
and they want me to ask my family
Right.
for the funds available.
Yeah.
And so why should I have to ask, just like you, why should I have to have that scarcity thing and feel like I'm having to beg or something just to have something that should be a given
Okay.
and as part of,
Well, that I understand what you're saying. That element, though, is kind of a part of another conversation about why social resources may or may not be available. Okay, but I totally get the point. Christine led. These were the first three words. So this is right where you start. I want to stop thinking scarcity. What would be another way for you to phrase what you want?
Start thinking abundance.
Yes.
yeah. So we were already saying the negative,
Yeah.
cursing before we're saying the blessing.
That's because I speak before I think.
Well, most of us do. And this is one of the hardest habits for us.
Sometimes
But again,
it's
by
hard, so
starting to
I
pay
didn't
attention,
hear.
Right.
when we start to pay attention, we can start to catch ourselves like, wait a minute. Okay, or in the morning in front of the mirror, we stay in that of it. And then if we pay attention and we go, wait a minute, let me backtrack that. And I like to go delete, delete, delete. That is not what I want. And then I will reaffirm what I want.
Or reframe that.
And reframe it. So I want to start thinking abundance. Now that is a more positive statement than that, yes?
Yes.
But there's even more powerful statements than start thinking abundance.
I do think abundance.
I am abundance.
I am abundance, yes.
The universe is abundance. I am surrounded by infinite resources. This is the whole premise behind my book, Lessons from the Sea. The whole premise of this book is that we are a wave on the sea. And there's no end to the ocean. It's deeper. We still haven't figured out exactly how deep the ocean is. Okay? We have no clue. And because we're a wave on the surface of the ocean is abundant, infinitely abundant. If we're a wave riding on the top, what are we? We have an unlimited source that can never dry up, can never go away. But it's an effort because our ego and everybody around us has told us that there's not enough. You won't have enough money to pay your bills. There's not enough money to pay your bills. Is that even a true statement? No. There's unlimited money. If there's unlimited money, there's unlimited resources. But it starts with saying, I am abundance. And why can we say I am abundance? Because I'm a wave on the sea of the ocean of abundance. It's infinite. And if I'm a wave on the sea, if the sea is abundant, infinitely and unlimited, and I'm a wave, what do I have access to? What am I a part of? What am I made in the image of? You know, if we're pointing to a scripture, what are we in the image of? Yeah. So when I start to make the most powerful affirmation here, I am abundance. I am abundant. I create abundance every day. Abundance thrives around me. There is no lack. There is no scarcity. Scarcity and lack is an illusion. Today I am surrounded by infinite resources. I am open to expected and unexpected resources today. My bills are already paid, and I intend to create and find the resources with which to do that. But they're already paid. See what I'm saying? So we go into that mental frame of mind that instantly takes us from unavailable to available. Because when I wake up in the mirror and I say, I am abundance today, I have no fear. There are always resources. I am divinely led to resources today to help me meet all of my obligations and for me to have more than enough because I intend to be generous with what I have. I'm going to give something away today. I'm down. I remember saying to a girl I had lunch with a few years ago, I felt like I was down to my $100, my last $100. I felt like shit when I said that, excuse my French. Because I was cursing myself. I've never been down, even that was a lie. I had never been down to my last $100. Why? Because I always find another $100. Give me a break, it's not even true. But we're convinced that it's not true. Or we're convinced that if we lose a deal with one client, that there's not going to be another deal. Or that if one business fails, we can never create another business.
Or even if you see businesses go down in your neighborhood, you're like, you know, it's kind of, it reflects a lot.
Absolutely.
The Rite Aids are all shutting down.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
But a lot of that's just changed. The world is always changing, but there's always abundance. Something always replaces it.
They were acquired by a larger company.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really didn't go anywhere. They just kind of moved in and.
I was watching the sequence to the sequel to Wall Street. Remember the Gordon Gekko movie Wall Street back in the day? There was another sequel made called Wall Street. I don't know, money, whatever, but it's the sequel and Gordon Gekko's in it and stuff. But you know, these were high dollar traders who are trading in millions of dollars a day, millions, billions of dollars a day. I mean, I can't even grasp the type of trading and the type of deals that banks make with the Fed, you know, or that banks make with each other and the amount, or that governments make. You know, we're talking $1 billion here and $1 trillion there. I can't. Okay? So is
deals,
everything. Okay? But when I get in my little world, I go, you know, my world is my wallet. If I don't have it in my wallet, I think number one, I don't have it. Number one, I can't get it. Number one, there's not enough. That goes to me not being good enough. Because if I was good enough, I'd have enough. Right? If I was good enough, my business would be here. If I was good enough, my relationships would be here. If I was good enough, my health would be here. If I was good enough, this never would have happened in the past. right? All of that is scarcity minded. A lot of us think that we can't have a relationship today because of something that happened in a relationship in the past. That's scarcity minded. A lot of people think that they can't have new love because they had old love and it didn't work out. And that was their chance at love. Well, you're only authorized 3 tries at a relationship for love. And if you blow all 3, sorry, that's it. You're just destined for singlehood. But that's how people think.
You'll be a hermit.
Right. And that's how some people think. Oh, I'm not going to date. Oh, whatever. And everybody's right to have their perspective, but that's a scarcity. Same thing happens. And then they wonder why they attract the people for potential partners or when they're dating that they do, because they're already in scarcity minded. Love has already eluded them.
And they don't show up available.
And that makes them unavailable. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Scarcity complex is one of the biggest things we can have that makes us unavailable for what we want. And it's not just about money. Scarcity of opportunity, scarcity of resources, scarcity of connections, scarcity of people, scarcity of skills, scarcity of compassion, scarcity of love, scarcity of forgiveness, scarcity of healing. You name it. The scarcity curse is deep. And we're reminded every day by the media and TV and internet that there's not enough good looks, there's not enough thin people, there's not enough whatever. So thank you for sharing that idea, because if you can start to flip this, the process starts when you say delete, delete, delete. The only time I mention scarcity and lack is when I affirm that there is no scarcity and lack. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
There is no, and whenever you hear somebody talking about it, and you're in sales, so whenever somebody says, oh, there aren't enough listings, or there aren't enough clients, or I can't find any people, or whatever they fill that blank in with, that's where you say, now, wait a minute. That's not true. Is it really true? Show me your evidence for that being true. And it never is. Okay? And when we start to call BS on ourselves and say, bullshit, Hyatt. There's no such thing as lack. There's no such thing as scarcity. There's always solutions. No matter what decision you need to make or have to make, you're going to figure it out, because there's more than enough. Because you're more than enough. So start to think like it, and start to act like it, and start to bless other people like it, and change the story. But you're right, this scarcity thing runs deep. I heard it from my parents. How are we going to fix the car?
Right.
It was a car repair. We drove crappy cars. Every time a car broke down, my mom would guess we'll have to bounce a check, right, to pay for the car repair. And I'm not judging my parents. They worked hard. My mom was a school teacher. My dad was an electrician. So it wasn't about, them being good enough as people or good enough providers. But it was their language and their belief system. So in my early 20s, whenever my car broke down, when I first got married, whenever my car broke down, I was a nervous wreck.
That's your lifeline.
Yeah. I would get nervous, I would get anxious, I would get scared, I would get angry, because I went right to where they would go. Oh, a car repair. Must mean I'm doing something wrong if my car's breaking down. See what I mean? I mean, we can really extend the thinking to make it personal.
I think that mindset, also, at least for me, my parents, my dad was in the building trades, he was a welder and a pipe fitter and things like that. My mom was a stay-at-home mom with me until my older sister went to college, so she didn't go to work until I was in middle school. And at that point, when she went to work, it was to try and help my sister go to college. But it was very much the same way. Like, if we had money at the end of the month to have paid all of our bills, that was a good month. And you know, my mom wound up in the mortgage business as a closer, and so when building and would go down, like the economy would slow down or whatever, and people weren't building, and people weren't buying and selling homes, and there were periods of time when they were both out of work, and everything just came to a screeching halt. And so now I catch myself all the time thinking, it's like this double-edged sword. I know I'm so blessed because of the situation that I'm in financially, comparatively from what I grew up in.
Right.
But I still don't believe, down deep I don't think, that there's enough for me to, like, that it would be right of me or okay of me to want more than what I have now, because I already have so much more than I had then.
Sure.
So
It should be enough, right? We should be content.
enough, and
Who are we to want
who
more?
are we to want more? Right.
Okay. And thank you for bringing that up, because that's kind of the next level above just flat scarcity minded is for us to be doing okay, doing well. But what do we do with the guilt complex or the shame that comes from, I really want a new car and I want a luxury car? Well, I wonder what my family would think. Man, if my family saw me driving X amount of car, you know, they would go bonkers. Or what would other people think? Or, you know, do I even deserve that? Or, oh, I'll just drive,
And then
you
it
know.
would be, she thinks she's better than.
Yeah. So then there's all that projection.
All that type
He's
of
gonna get
thing.
Keeping up with
upset
the
that you
Joneses.
get ahead of them.
Right. Because they think there's not enough for them.
Right.
And they're just trying to make sense of their own scarcity complex. Okay? So, yeah, the next thing becomes is I really want to build $1 million business. I would love to build a $1 million coaching, you know, business, books, whatever, speaking, whatever. And for me to do that, no one in my family's ever done that. You know? And I could go to that same place. Man, do I have what it takes? Because here's the key, because what we usually do is we go into compete mode. Okay? Because I can only get enough if I take what you have. Right? I want your clients. I want your listings. See what I'm saying? I want your woman. I want your man. I want your whatever. Or somebody else has got, so I got to go, in order for me to get abundance and to make something, I got to take away from what somebody else has. Or they should give it to me. I either need to take it or they should give it. When in reality, both of those are competition and scarcity-minded thinking. But when I go, wait a minute, I can create. What if I advertise or market my business differently? What if I put out a sign that says, lunch, Reiki and lunch? You know what I mean? Have a Reiki lunch, 30-minute session, 20-minute session, X number of dollars, and you're sitting right there, walk-in basis, right? Who knows? Okay? And so when we start to open ourselves up to creating rather than competing, see, if we're competition-minded, we're scarcity-minded. If I'm creating, what am I doing? I got the whole sea, I got the whole ocean as my resource for me to create who I am and what I want and the direction that I want to go and to fulfill my dreams. I don't have to take from another wave on the ocean. Is there enough to go around? Yes.
Right, and just like she was mentioning before, you feel guilty if you have a little bit more, or you're able to say something, and then you still have the people that are asking you for something, but you're still living within your means, and they think that you have more than what it is.
Sure.
So then you have the guilt again
And
about,
families are clocking each other.
Sure.
Yeah, they're clocking.
They're clocking each other and competing with each other, and, you know,
Everything.
again, because they can't help it.
right,
So I can go in judgment mode and get all caught up in the family drama of you know, of them judging me or hating me, or me judging them and hating them. Instead I go, hey, right. It makes perfect sense why they're that way. And are they allowed to be that way? Absolutely. Do we have to change or control them? No. So, hey, thank you for reminding me of what somebody who says, you can't do that. Hey, thank you for reminding me exactly about what I can do. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. And I totally get it. I know that you're looking at this experience through your own perspective and you're trying to make sense of missed opportunities in your own life. That's okay too. But I'm going to go do this thing, you know, and I'm going to bless you anyway. And I'm going to go do it. And then we take the leap into abundance mindset, cultivating abundance mindset. My goal for 2019 is to grow and develop an abundance mindset that only speaks abundance, that only sees abundance. And I'm going to start to catch myself whenever I start to think that there's not enough, or that I'm not enough, or that somebody else has too much, and that I don't have this. Let me start to catch myself and correct my perspective. Because if we go to work tomorrow thinking that there's more than enough of what we need or want, how will that affect how we approach our day? Unlimited possibilities. Unlimited people to contact. Unlimited connections to make. So if we can blow up our scarcity mindset and instead build that abundance mindset, that will put us so far ahead of the curve. And you know what? It will make us happier people. Because we're not looking through the lens of scarcity. We're not looking at ourselves. We're not looking at other people. We start to speak the blessing on people. Oh, you can go do that. Oh, that's a great idea. How can I support you? You know what? I don't know exactly how to help you, but I trust you that you'll find the right resources and connections and knowledge and information that will divinely lead you to whatever it is that you're looking for, that you want to be successful in. How can scripting help us develop an abundance mindset? Scripting is all about abundance. If there's anything that I learned, if I could put scripting in one word that I learned from Joyce, and my scripting experience is abundance mindset. Because you create unlimited possibilities with your words. So, let me see where I spoke abundance mindset. Let's see. I am present and mindful with my client today. This was May 6, 2010. A trusting and open relationship develops as we get to know each other. I ask appropriate, thought-provoking questions. I demonstrate acceptance, openness, and loving presence. I am able to answer questions about myself, my coaching, my fees, and my business with clarity, preciseness, and confidence. So this was in May 2010, I was just getting started. I was still in the middle of my life coaching certification class.
You're already doing it.
Future appointments are set up, desired by myself and my client. I know that this is my purpose. I have no agenda but to serve. He can sense this energy come from me. This is our business, God, and as my partner, you are with me today in every aspect. Okay, so by me learning to write that way through the practice of scripting, my ability to call upon an abundance mindset grew. Now, is it perfect? Oh, hell no. Okay, just ask Gina. She hears me talk scarcity. And she's a good reminder when she says, John, that's not true. Aren't you, baby? So we're never perfected. But the more we practice, I mean, this is interesting. In 2010, I was writing Abundance Mindset about an experience I wanted to have with a client, and I wasn't even a certified life coach yet. I was still learning. So scripting, get yourself a good scripting journal for 2019. Write a dedication on the front page. Dedicate it to your life, to yourself, to your success, to your God, whatever. And then you start to write each day as if you already have what you want, as if you already are who you want to be, as if you already have the skills, talents, characteristics, accomplishments, health that you want. You can talk to yourselves. When I script about health, I say, I have happy cells. My immune system is strong, active, capable. See what I'm saying? That statement, my immune system is strong, is something I tell myself anytime I'm either around somebody who is sick, or I hear somebody complaining about being sick, or even if I hear something on the news that's talking about the flu. I instantly affirm my immune system is strong and capable. Okay? Does that mean I never get sick? Almost. Okay? But it makes a difference. I'm affirming abundance of health, not scarcity. You believe what they're talking about the news with the flu, everybody's going to die from the flu.
I had pneumonia in 2017 on New Year's Day, and I had to go on oxygen, and I didn't have any energy for the last 2 years, and I had to will and write myself to get better.
Excellent. So what were some of the words and phrases you used, Charlotte, when you did that?
That my life is going in a perfect and right direction, and that my health is going to improve as we go along, and it already has improved significantly.
Thank you. See that? She spoke the blessing. She spoke the blessing to herself. Next thing you know, her body and her cells are responding. Everything aligns. That's what scripting does. It aligns this. It aligns us to be consistent and authentic with our thoughts, words, feelings, and actions. So when I'm writing abundance, when I'm writing about what I wrote about, I'm thinking it, I'm writing it with my words, I'm going to read it back out loud, so whatever you script, read back out loud to yourself, so you put that vibration physically out into the universe. I aligned my emotions with it. That is the hardest part. And then the actions too. Because I can guarantee you, whoever I was sitting across from in this client, I was present in the moment as a coach at that time because I had intent behind my actions. That's who I wanted to be in that moment. But by scripting about it, it lined it all up. Everything was consistent. I wasn't thinking one thing and feeling another, saying another thing, and then doing another thing. That's typically how we are as humans. We're scattered, we're all over the place.
And hopefully it all comes together.
Yeah. Well, by scripting and affirming abundance mindset, I'm creating conditions for it to come together. Okay? That's what I mean when I say create conditions for success. By showing up available in my scripting experience and focusing on abundance mindset and writing specifically about what thoughts, words, feelings, and actions are consistent with what I want, I'm creating conditions for all of this to take place. Okay? And no matter what happened on that particular day, I know who I was in that moment. And I'm unattached to who the guy, how it plays out with the guy. He might have had a terrible experience with me. But I know that I set my intention on who I was going to be in that moment. So that's another thing about scripting. We're not attached to the specific outcome. Because if I'm an abundance mindset, see, scarcity mindset says, I got to get this client. I got to get this deal. I got to get this house. My car has to look exactly like this. My relationship has to look just this way. And if not, it means fill in the blank. No, it doesn't have to mean anything because I'm open. Because it's always this or something better. And if it's this or something better, then I'm creating conditions for the better to occur. But I can't lose. You can't lose by practicing this abundant mindset, by scripting, by showing up available, and by aligning your thoughts, words, feelings, and actions. You cannot lose. Because you either align for what you want or the next best thing.
It's not to say that everything is perfect all the time.
Oh, never.
But if you have the mindset that things are always better than they could be, then it helps you to get to that level
Yes.
of yeah, it's pretty perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it's good.
Yeah.
It's not about perfection. It's just, man, is this good? You know? Even if it doesn't go my way, could it still be good? Well, yeah, lots of things that haven't gone my way are still good and excellent and for my higher good. And abundance mindset helps me see those things eventually. I might not see it in the moment because I might experience severe disappointment, which is okay. As humans, we're supposed to feel that. That's how we learn. That's how we start to get clarity around what we want and around who we are. But by practicing that and opening up, it creates conditions for us to be in the flow. In the flow. I mean going downstream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Wayne Dyer, one of his CDs. Go with the flow. He's like, stop going. He's like, don't row upriver. Don't row upstream.
You're not going to get anywhere.
No. Turn your boat around. Row your boat, not someone else's. Merrily, life is but a dream. It is it's just a dream, but we're making it reality. What dream do we have? What beliefs and values do we give to our dream? And do we take 100% responsibility for creating it? That's the key. No one else is responsible for creating your 2019. Nobody owes you a thing. Nobody's coming to save you or rescue you.
It's a me world.
It is. Or it's the perfect world because by me taking responsibility for what I create, I'm in full control. And I'm owning it. And I'm always guiding. And just like the turtle, I'm at peace in the process. I'm at peace in the process, and I trust always, I have radical trust that I'm being divinely led. Even in the crappiest of situations. If you can say, I have no clue what's going on, but I choose to feel some element of certainty in the uncertainty, and trust that I'm being divinely led through this, and again, that God's working behind the scenes, or angels are already out there, or things have already been moving long before this thing ever started to occur in my own experience. Things have been moving. What am I going to worry about? Why worry at all? Just let me set my intention, script about what I want, make sure I have an abundance mindset, practice radical trust, speak the blessing instead of the cursing, and choose to show up available instead of unavailable, and let's roll the dice and see what happens. So, 2019.
Drink some coffee.
You are all, that's right. You are all powerful, deliberate, and intentional creators. You all have the capacity to create whatever you want in 2019. I trust you to know what you want. I trust you to get clear about what you want, and I trust you to script and change your thoughts, words, feelings, and actions in such a way that you speak so much more blessing and so much more abundance mindset that just unlimited and amazing miracles happen for you this year. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.